like to introduce myself. I don't believe that we have ever met. I think that we could hit it off so well. Let me paint a picture, you and me together. I'd like to introduce myself.
Hey guys, this is Mark,
This is Austin.
and welcome back to another episode of Life with Rojo.
Man, I'm excited today. We have comedian extraordinaire all the way in Franklin, Tennessee. We got Joel Beasley today. Joel, thanks for taking some time to come out today, man.
Oh, thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, man, we're excited to have you, but I want to go ahead and start off with a question. I want to know, what is the worst bomb that you've ever had on stage?
I'd say the worst one, because it was prolonged, was this night where only 2 people showed up to the club.
Oh,
Yeah. Comedy club just outside of Nashville, and there were literally 2 people and then some staff, so maybe 6 people total. And it was just rough. It was rough for everybody. Luckily, I only had like a 15-minute open. I wasn't the headliner or anything.
right.
But yeah, that was a tough 15 minutes.
Yeah. Like if you only have 2 people there, do you do any crowd work? And what if you only pick one of them? What's that other person thinking?
I don't know. Both of them were there for the other comedian, so they didn't even want to be there.
I feel like I would just pulled up a chair and be like, you know what, let's all come to the same table, get some pizza, something to drink, and just sit here and crack some jokes.
I definitely did pull up like the stool and kind of sit down and talk with them a little bit more, and but that definitely will stay burned into my mind as the hardest. And then the second one would be I'm touring with Jeff Allen right now, so I get this opportunity where there's like 600 to 1,000 people every night, and I've tried to learn how to test new material while on the road with Jeff. And so I'll tell you what, if you think a joke goes bad with 25 or 50 or 100 people, the silence is so loud with 1,000 people, like if the joke doesn't work. So I've been learning how to test, like how much material to test and all of that, and how to do it exactly. So there's been a couple little bombs there.
So is he the type that if you have one that bombs or whatever, afterward he'll mess with you about it, or what's that relationship like?
Yeah, so he's given me the complete go-ahead to test new material.
Oh, that's great.
So he said most people don't. He said he's knew many comics growing up as a comedian. He's been doing it for 50 years. He said that there's a lot of comics, they'll just get their tight 15 and they'll be so scared to not have a strong laugh that they just cling to their tight 15 for their entire career essentially and never make it out of that open middle area. He goes, so you have to be bold enough to be able to try new things. And so first I was trying I do a 15 to 20 minute open for Jeff. So I was doing 5 of known stuff, 5 new stuff, 5 of known stuff, sandwiching it in there. But that middle 5, it was real hard to test 5 whole minutes of new stuff because you kind of lose them if it's not working. So instead what I did was I now extend my bits. So I'll take bits that I know are working that are 3 or 4 minutes, and I'll try to add another minute to it. That way I get a ton of laughs, and if they don't laugh at the last new minute, that's fine. And so that's been the change that I've been making over the past 3 or 4 months.
Okay.
Nice.
So how many shows a year on average are you doing between with Jeff and on your own or other things?
Yeah, so I started December 26th of last year. So I've been doing it 53, 54 weeks, something like that.
Wow. And you're already at the place you're at. That is incredible, man.
Yeah, last year I did 85 shows.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dude, that's insane to even have somebody like Jeff have you bring you on at this stage. I talked to guys that have been at it for 10 years plus, just hoping for a situation like yours. So
yeah, God is good, man. I'll tell you what, it looked like there was no possible way this is going to happen. And I even told my wife, my wife was pushing me to do it for the past 10 years. And I was just like, no, because I don't drink. I don't like to go out late. I don't want to, pick up bad habits. I want to be with my wife and 3 kids.
Right.
I was like, there's just, and so she finally convinced me to try. And I said, okay, I'll try. And if God opens doors, God opens doors. And boom, just like one after the other. I mean, I'm doing shows at like 7 o'clock and I'm in bed by 10, and I can bring my family, and I'm with other clean comedians that a lot of them are faith-based comedians too. And so this whole network has just formed around me, or I got pulled into it. And so I'm super grateful, but I also work very hard. I mean,
Right.
most comedians don't write every day.
Right.
That's what I found. I was listening to like Jerry Seinfeld and other interviews, and you only really need to do a very small number of things really well to get ahead. So I learned this from business. I'm pretty good at business. And there's really only like one or two things when you figure out how to do it that you have to really focus on for the whole machine to work. And so for me, it's writing and performing.
Okay.
And so how do I write material that builds a fan, not just a laugh? Like, how do I write something that builds a fan? And then how do I get opportunities to perform? And so I've just completely focused on those two things.
No, that's incredible.
So I know you said your wife was like really supporting you to like step out and do this. So
She
what was
pushed
like
me. Yeah.
she what was that like open door moment? Like what was that like decision to actually step out and do it?
So I first stepped out and did it about 11 years ago for about 2 or 3 months. And that was when we were engaged. And from there, we got married and we had a baby. And when she was pregnant, we decided that I was going to go the software route because that's the safer route. And we had a baby on the way. That ended up working out very well. Built and sold software company. And I got to the point where I was like really depressed because I just didn't have a whole lot to do. And I could build another business. It was whatever. So I was running my podcast, and the podcast was great, and the podcast was paying the bills, but it just, I don't know. She looked at me and she's like, you need to go out and do this because you're depressed because you're not taking the path that you were made for. And I said, all right, I'll listen to you. And that was it.
Dude, that's awesome to have that kind of support, man. You know, it's incredible, and just like where you've gotten in this time frame, you know, it shows the work you're putting in and doing it the right way, the path that you're taking. So with your writing, I know you said that you work on writing every day. Like, how do you have that scheduled into your day? Like, is it a certain amount of time you try to do every day, or?
Yeah, I have to walk 10,000 steps as my minimum before I go to bed. Here's my thing.
Right.
So I do that every day. Good days I hit 20,000, but I don't go to bed unless if I hit 10,000. And what I do is I walk in circles either inside the house or in the driveway, like back and forth between the house. And in that, to do 10,000 steps is about 2 hours of straight walking at a certain pace that I walk at. And so I sit there and I spend half of that time rehearsing known stuff, trying to come up with new ads to it that just happen in the moment. And then the other half of the time I spend writing. So I get about an hour a day of rehearsal and an hour a day of writing.
Dude, that's really good. Like, were you in the military?
No, my dad was though. He was Air
Sounds like
Force.
you got the military disciplines, man.
Oh, I used to be very undisciplined,
Right.
and that created the necessity for discipline. And so it's been about 10, 15 years since I figured that out.
Right. Well, tell us a couple steps you did to become more disciplined, because I have people. So I was in the military, and I have people ask me all the time, like, "Well, it's easy or they say all the time, it's easy for you to be disciplined. You were in the military." So, like, for somebody that wasn't in the military and they weren't very disciplined and they became very disciplined, like, what are some steps you took for that?
Let your life become so horrible you have no other option but to change. You need that activation energy. Like, your life has to be so bad that you're like, you know what? I'm going to change and stick with it this time. And I don't think you can really do much until your life gets like to that point where you have to make the change.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's like a thing with faith too. You know, we don't know how much we need Jesus till we realize how messed up we are. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
But no. So, man, I'm still thinking back on that that show you had with the two people. And
Yeah.
like, I think it would have been amazing, like if they're off to this side and you just looked like straight forward, didn't move or anything, just acted like it was a full room and like almost ignored them. I wonder how that would have gone.
Well, it was really early on. So this was like 3 months in.
Right.
And so at that time, I had no skills. I used to say this thing on stage quite a bit when people would interact with me, like, "Oh, I'm not experienced enough as a comedian to handle crowd interaction."
Right.
that would usually get them to stop because I would just lose my
Right.
place and I had no idea how to handle being interrupted, even with all my practice being married. So with the kids. So yeah, that's what happened.
No, so your first time on stage, like what was that like? Did you start off with like an open mic or what did you do first?
Yeah, so I went to on December 26th, I went to Joker's Comedy House and they had an open mic.
Okay.
And I did the open mic there. And then I did it a couple more weeks in a row. And then I started driving to Nashville to do open mics. And then DJ Pryor, who's one of the owners, DJ Gary and Alayla own Jokers. And DJ mentioned something. He's like, "Yeah, it's pretty good. Maybe you might want to like host or something at one of the shows." And I said, "Great, please, like, let's do it." He's like, "All right, I'll call you." He took my number. He didn't call me. So he's very busy. And so I just kept going down there and waiting for him essentially. And like a creep, just sitting in my car. And I talked to him and I said, "Hey, I'm available. And, if this is something you want to do." He said, "Yep. Okay." So he gave me a shot. And then I did well with the shot. See, the thing is, I think one of the things that is really helpful is that every time I get a small opportunity, I like treat it like it's the most golden thing in the world.
Right,
Like I take it so seriously. I try so hard. I prep as much as I could possibly prep. I just take it very seriously. And I think that gives me a small advantage.
Yeah.
No, I think that's a good mindset to take with it because, a lot of people are like, oh, it's just small and they think of it as insignificant. But if you're looking at it as you are your bigger goals, then, so much can come from that. And, one of the things you said about the stalker thing, I think a lot of times that opens doors for you, like when people, I mean, not literally, but, well,
That's-
maybe, who knows? But,
Is it really stalking when they open the door? I mean,
right.
like at that point, you've crossed a threshold. Of like,
Mark
"Oh,
seems to know the law pretty well on this one. So our
I'm
resident
actually
expert.
gonna have to leave."
And that's how I got Austin to do a podcast with me. So.
Joel, save me. This is actually a crowd of our help.
No, but for real though, like being around and just being there and, just them recognizing your face and seeing you can open so many doors.
Yeah, showing up is more than half of it. And then you have to show up. And then, the interesting thing is the people that are running these open mics, if they care about comedy and they're trying to use the open mic to identify new talent, some are, some aren't. But if they are, they can see a really messed up diamond that's covered in junk. And they can watch that thing get better and better. And they could pick up on it. And you can also, but like when you're brand new, you really can't tell like where you're at. Now that I am 85 shows and a year into it, I can start to see when I watch open mics, I was like, that person wrote. Like that is literally the thing that will set you apart. Did you actually try to write a joke at this open mic, or did you just come here and try to vent your week or use it as a therapy or tell a story? The people who write, even if they're failing, you can tell their material's written and it's like, oh, okay, they're trying. That's awesome. They're in the top 1% immediately.
Right.
So what's it like, 85 shows in, right? From last year to this year, or a little bit after. Like, what's that feeling like looking back that, wow, I have 85 shows in? Like, were you expecting that at all? Or did that just kind of come out of nowhere? Or?
Yeah, so when I started with the goal of 65. So for a fighter pilot to learn a new maneuver, they have to perform the maneuver physically 65 times before it's in their muscle memory. So I made a decision when I started. I said, when I go into this, I'm going to physically go up on stage and do a performance 65 times before I decide if I like it. You'd be surprised how many times I wanted to quit in that first 65. But after I hit that 65, I was like, there's no way I'm ever stopping this. I'll do this till I die.
Yeah.
No, that another military thing with you though. You know,
And that was like, are you sure you were in the military?
he's undercover right now. So
The beard is my camo. Yeah.
no, but no, I think that's great because I can only imagine. You know, you go to a show and it doesn't go well, or you're not getting the
Mhm.
response you're hoping, and wanting to quit because it is something that is a different type of venture than a lot of people get into. It's one of those that your shows are in the evening, like different things like that. So I think it's far easier, and you can see it's far easier to quit than to be successful.
Mhm.
And but when you look at just being there and showing up, I think a lot of that's with parenting too. Like I think about it with my kids, man, I mess up all the time, but 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 I'm always there, and that's what I try to be for them. Like even tonight after this, I'm going to driving like 45 minutes to a basketball game, uh, and whether he cares if I'm there or not, I'm going to be there. So because 16-year-olds, sometimes they don't care as much if dad's there as the 8-year-olds did.
Oh
So,
yeah.
but when you're looking at your material and you're coming up with material, what do you get most of your material from? Do you think it's more like family things, just like life, kids,
Yeah.
or awkward encounters? What?
Yeah, there's two things that I distinctly do for material. The first one is I pay attention to moments that are just happening around me. And I'll ask myself, like, if it makes me laugh, I'm just like, oh, that's funny. Yeah, I saw my wife do something or my kid do something. I was like, is that funny? And I put it into a Trello board, which is like an app, free app to organize ideas. And I have an ideas bank, is what it's called in there. It's like a list, an ideas bank. And so I'll make an entry into that list. And I'm making entries 1 to 3 times a day usually. And so that's my list, my bank. And then when I'm in writing mode, I go through my bank. And I was like, is that still funny? Yeah. Because it's always funny, like when I'm writing it down, but is it funny a day or 3 later? And I'll archive it if it's not. If it is funny, I'll move it forward to the next stage and try to write like a line or two around it. And the other thing I do is I take moments that I think are like super relatable and I write those moments down too. Like sometimes they'll just pop into my head even if I don't directly experience them.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I write, I just work off of my ideas bank and my Trello board. And then there's stages. So I make this, it's called a card in Trello. So I'll make the joke a card. And then if it moves from like idea into development into ready to test, so those are the phases. And once it goes ready to test, I test it on stage. And if it works, I put it into the it worked column. And I just watch the progress of the joke. And that's how I build it all.
Yeah. Now, do you ever run jokes by your kids or your wife to kind of get their reaction? Or
That's the worst. If you want to kill it, yeah. Yeah.
So who's the worst critic, the wife or the kids?
I just learned that you learn very few things in comedy school. You learn setup, punchline, structure of joke, and don't test with your friends and family. Like in the sense that I'm going to pitch you a joke. Like you can be out on a walk and like kind of inject it into the conversation to see if it's got teeth. But like saying, hey, I've got a joke and I want to share it with you and get your feedback.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I mean, other comedians that works with, you can do that with other comedians, but no.
Yeah, I feel like that'd be a tough crowd. Like if I brought it home to my wife or kids, they would roast me. So
Yeah, well, it also depends on what time, what mood they are in,
right
too.
Like maybe if I bring home pizza,
Yeah,
and they don't get the pizza until they laugh, like that could work.
that's forcing people to laugh is what they do at most clubs. It's a very effective tactic. Yes.
Now, I've heard Nate Bargatze talk about it and just his frustration that he's had at times with people thinking comedians can just go out there, like be a funny person, go out there and say jokes. and be successful with that. And he talks a lot about the writing process as well. And I've found that interesting because, you know, we've had other comedians on here, but you and him are the two that I've heard talk most about that and just the importance of that. Now, if you're on a show with somebody and let's say they're just telling jokes, but they're not prepping the way that you prep, how do you handle that? Because for me, when I'm putting in more work than other people, like it can be frustrating for me.
Oh, I don't care. Good luck to them. I
Right.
mean, I'm really just in my zone, and it doesn't matter who comes before me or after me. When I'm on that stage, like when I walk onto the stage
Mhm.
on my little boot sequence, that's how you know I'm a real nerd in my notes. Step one is to connect with the audience. So I like specifically pick people out and try to connect with them and say thank you for coming. And like I imagine that you ever see that movie Avatar?
Mhm.
You know, when he finds like the dragon and he puts his little connector into the dragon and
Right.
he pairs, that's what I do to the audience when I get on stage. I'm like, I got to pair with this audience like Bluetooth. I got to make it happen. And then I pull them into, because I'm a slower speaker.
Mhm.
I'm not like super high energy. And so I have to pull them into me.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I mean that's interesting. One of the things I love is like if you look at shows that I enjoy watching, they're the shows that teach you how something's made or teach you about different like the process. And that's one thing I've always enjoyed. You know, our last person we were working with was like a proactive strongman. And he you know, doesn't have use of one of his arms, but he's become like one of the strongest people in the world. And like I love hearing about his process and the steps that goes into that and what he has to do for that. But I love the same thing with comedy. Like I love just what goes into putting on a great set. So thank you for sharing that with us.
Can you tell, like, when you walk out, like, you know, you're saying you walk out, step one, you've already got you're locking eyes, you know who you're going to connect with. You know, you're out there, you're going to like fuse with the crowd. But when you step out there, can you tell if it's going to be like a harder show to connect with versus not? Or when can
I
you
could
kind of
tell
tell?
by like, I can tell in the first 2 minutes.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. If I hit them with the jokes and, you know, I've got a couple different jokes that I've got the crowd wants to be there and this is going to go great. If I get a laugh, it's like, all right, I can tell by the intensity of the laugh on the first joke, which happens in the first 15 seconds, where I'm going to be at. And then by 2 minutes, I've hit them with at least one very loud applause or one very loud like laughter from the crowd. And so in that first 2 minutes, I know like what the maximum amount of laughter is that I'm going to get.
Yeah.
And then I'm just like, oh, okay, this is what it is. And it's weird, you know, Jeff's audience is an amazing audience, but it's different everywhere you go. Like we did a Thursday, we were in New York. It was different than Friday when we were 2 hours away from New York in Pennsylvania. And I was talking to his social media manager. She said, oh, it's probably because it was a Thursday night show. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. And they just got hit with a snowstorm like the week before. So everybody's kind of like in a different mood. And I said, oh, okay, that would make sense. You know, I feel really, really bad when I'm the opener. And then Jeff absolutely destroys. Like if it doesn't go super well for me. And I don't feel really bad when like it doesn't go super well for me. And then I hear Jeff's first 5 minutes and they're not laughing super duper hard like they usually do. So it's just like, okay, I'm always trying to figure out, is it me? Or is it an off night? Like what's going on? I overanalyze everything. You can ask my wife. Yeah.
Now, when you're going out there, you ever have anybody when you're making that eye contact in those first steps? You ever have anybody that makes the eye contact a little too hard, and you're just like, "Whoa!"
Not yet. No, that hasn't happened yet.
It's gonna happen. I mean, I'm just saying.
I'll let you know. You'll
When's
be
your
the
next
first
show,
year.
Joel?
Right.
I'm not doing that person.
Hey, what is it? Is it 23rd that you're coming to our area? What's that date?
I don't know. JoelComedy.com though.
Yeah, I think you got one coming out just south of Chattanooga coming up soon.
Yeah, I'm opening for Darcy Lynn the 16th, 17th, and 18th in Brunswick, Tifton, and Toccoa, and then the 23rd I'm in Ringgold, which I think for
23rd.
Jeff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ringgold's 30 minutes from us.
Yeah, come out to the show.
So yeah, no, I
If
mean
it's not sold out already.
Walking in.
Yeah. Jeff sells out like
right.
a lot of shows. I mean, 2 of the 3 shows we did this week were sold out, and there were like 600 people at each show.
Oh, that's great.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
Now, I know you're opening for him, but and that's you said about 15-minute set usually.
20. So
Okay,
yeah, he gives me usually. It depends on the night, but it's either 15 or 20.
Okay. Now, on other types of shows, I know you've done other length sets, like you've done, shorter sets, and I'm sure you've done, some longer ones. Where is your sweet spot right now? Do you feel like that 20-minute is kind of your sweet spot, or do you feel more comfort doing a shorter set or a longer set?
Yeah, so I only have like 20 full minutes of great stuff. I've got 25 to 27 minutes total. But if you're talking about like steady, consistent, multiple laughs per minute, I got 20 minutes of that. And so that's where I'm currently at. And yeah, I was doing a lot of 7-minute sets, and when I had 7 minutes, and then when I had 15 minutes, I had a bunch of 15 minutes. So it's kind of, my career is limited by my amount of material right now.
Right. Well, so for you to move to doing the longer ones, what things do you think will have to take place for you to create more material? Just more life moments, or
Yeah, so I have no shortage of like written material. It's just at bats for testing. So when I go out and do I call it like a leg. When I do like a leg with Jeff, which is like 3 shows on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, something like that. I'm usually picking up 1 to 2 new minutes from that amount of shows. And that's, a 10-second tag here, 15-second add on there, a new premise test for 30 seconds here. And so what I do is I've got this, I use CapCut, and it's like this video editor, and I record every single time I go on stage, it's recorded. And then I take what works and I clip it together into this like massive montage timeline so I can see how much total material I have. And that's how I'm building it. So I go out there, I'm testing, I'm trying stuff, I'm recording, and then I come back on like a Monday, and like this afternoon or tomorrow, I'll go through and pull the, 1 to 2 minutes of new stuff that worked from the recordings from this past trip. And then I'll put those and add them into the master set. And that's what I'm working on.
Okay, no, that's awesome, man. Like, you have shared the most process that I've heard from anyone. I think it's awesome.
It's like scientific.
Right.
I'm a nerd. I'm a software engineer by trade. So
right.
yeah.
So,
Makes sense.
now, what about like social media things? Like, I know you put a lot of effort and time into your comedy. Like, how much do you have to balance with like social media? Because I know right now it just seems like that's so incredibly important for comedians.
It is. My social media strategy is, there's a lot of different ones, and there's different strategies that work for different people at different stages. The one I have chosen to go with currently is weekly updates. So I'm not even posting bits and stuff. I just post a 60-second weekly update of here's where I'm at on my journey. It's week 52 or 50, whatever week it is.
Right.
And that's been working pretty well as far as like actual people interested in following me, and I get messages about it when I post updates, and it's an interesting way for me to keep up with everybody that I've met in the comedy scene. Now, I will eventually post bits. I'll get to a point where I'm posting new bits on Fridays or whatever the days ends up going to be. So weekly updates will be on like Mondays, and new bits will be on Fridays, something like that. But for right now, I'm really, really dialed in to getting that first half hour. The first half hour opens up all sorts of new doors, and the first hour opens up even more. So I'm just, every time I want to go run some new social media strategy or try something, I say, nope, I flip open the camera for 60 seconds a week and say what's going on, log it to the repository, and then go back to writing and practicing.
No, I think that's great. And so would you say, from your experience, you have someone doing the shorter set, the 5 to 7 minutes, and then they're starting to work the 15 to 20. And so the next step for you would be like a solid 30.
Yeah. Right now I'm
Okay.
I'm working. You build it 1 second at a time. So
Right.
it's like just focused on that every time I go up. If I can, like, what's a win for me? A win for me is my known material continues to work, and I got a couple new seconds tonight.
Right.
That's a win for me. Yeah.
Now, how does your faith play into doing the clean comedy and keeping your comedy clean?
So I would say that uh, we're all dirty people to
Right.
some degree. So you just got to like get that out and then get to the clean stuff. Figure out how to make it clean. And yeah, I just focus. My whole goal here is I'm changing careers at a later stage in life.
Hmm.
I'm almost 40, and I'm changing careers at a later stage in life, and I need to do it while also keeping God at the top of my list and my family together. And so I call that like a near impossible dream.
Hmm.
So it's very difficult, and I am very attracted to difficult things. If you
Right.
look at my history prior to comedy, I usually choose really difficult problems because that holds my interest.
So, one of the things that I'm that way in a lot of ways too, because I feel like if things aren't challenging me, then I get bored really easy.
Mhm.
So I have to like be constantly challenged in things. Um, Now hecklers, did they motivate you or do they just tick you off?
I mean, we don't get a lot of hecklers at Jeff shows.
Well, yeah, true,
Yeah.
true.
You don't get a lot of hecklers on the church circuit.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't know.
Hey, I've been to some churches.
I've met a lot of hecklers in fellowship halls. So I don't know.
I have gotten used to people shouting out like tags or guessing the punchline. That'll happen. Um,
Hmm.
and so I guess it's less about, it doesn't frustrate me. I guess if anything, it's exciting that they want to be involved in the show.
Right.
So I'd say it's a net positive. It took me quite a while to learn how to maintain my focus and my centeredness in the
Mhm.
set while someone else is, shouting something out unexpectedly.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I pastored a church for about 3 weeks at this point, and an older guy in the church, he was like 92. He gets up in the middle, not in the middle of the service, but we're probably, a few minutes from altar call. And he stands up and he's like, Pastor, it's a great sermon, but I'm sorry and when we're at a Baptist church, he's like, the Church of God's having homecoming today, so I'm gonna go eat. And he's like, y'all come with me if you want lunch. In the middle of the service. And so I think that was my only heckler I had as a preacher, like, but that was kind of tough to get back on track after that one for me. So
Yeah. Well, I got my notes, so I just look at those if I glance at those on the stool if I need them. Yeah.
so you're a year into it. Somebody who's just trying to start out today, what would your recommendation to them be?
I don't give advice, but I do tell people what I would do if I were them. So if I were starting over today again, I would focus on writing and practicing and like writing and performing as much as I possibly could. So, at the beginning, you're going to have to do any show that you can get, take any show that you can get. But focus, I'd say this is good. Don't do comedy where people aren't there to see comedy. Or at least if you're going to do it, don't judge if your material works or not. That was the mistake I was making. I was making this mistake. I'd go to like a bar open mic in like downtown Nashville, and I would do a set and like it would be crickets, and it's crickets because like there's 25 people there, 20 of them are comics and 5 of them are just trying to have a bar, like be at the bar and drink and
Right.
reconnect with a friend or watch a sports game. And so I was deciding that material was or wasn't working based off of that experience, and that is not okay. You can't do that. So I mean, like if you are going to go just to get the jitters out and just to try to say words on stage to get comfortable with it, that's great. It'll work. It'll solve that. But don't let yourself decide. Like, don't decide if your material is good or not based off of that. Like, if you want to decide if material is good or not, for me, what I tell myself is there has to be at least 50 people there, and those 50 people have to have purchased tickets to come see a comedy show.
Mm-hmm.
And if those things don't match, then I'm not even testing anything.
Right.
It's just going there for getting on stage just to get on stage.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's a really good thing that you're saying because as I've talked to different comedians for our Lattes and Laughs events that we do, um, the first thing almost every one of them have asked me, they're like, the people do know they're coming for a comedy show, right?
Mhm.
Because that's an important thing that before I started setting these up, like I wasn't thinking the specifics of that. I just thought, well, of course they know they're coming for a comedy show, but it makes a lot of sense asking that question.
Yeah, because it's rough if people don't want to, even if people like comedy and they're fans, if they're not in the mindset to go see a comedy show, then it's just like,
Right.
what are we doing?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, as we're closing up, I wanted to ask you, I believe that comedy is a huge for mental health. Like I feel like it's helped me a lot. It just brings a lot of joy into people's lives, and I wanted to see like what you feel like in that regard, like how comedy can benefit people, whether it's mental health or otherwise.
Um, I mean, for me, my brain was already doing this stuff before.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me to get on board with it, it's kind of like I'm rowing in the same direction as my brain now. So as far as for me and like my purpose and getting this out there, it's been very valuable. Uh, it's been very enjoyable to do it. So I mean,
Oh, that's awesome.
you'll even hear John Crist. Like one of my favorite things about him is in his act, he often will say like my mind works differently, like it processes, and I'm like, yeah, that's why I like you, because like my mind, we have similar thoughts, and it's great, and that's why
Right.
people like him, because
Mhm.
people get random thoughts into their heads too. So I don't know. That's what I got for you.
No, hey, that's good. So you mentioned John Chris and obviously Jeff are two of your favorite comedians, but
Uh-huh.
who's another comedian or two that you're a really big fan of?
I'll tell you, like outside of clean. So like, all right,
Right.
clean comics. Really like Jeff Allen, John Chris, Nate, and not clean comics. I like Shane Gillis quite a bit.
Okay.
Because I've got my youngest has Down syndrome, and he's got some
Mhm.
great Down syndrome jokes. That's how I found him.
Right.
And he's got some good impersonations too. I don't do any impersonations, but I also like Pete Holmes for like spiritual or
Yeah.
type comedy, and I like Joe Rogan for, I wouldn't say pop culture, but like current event type
Hmm.
comedy. And so, I have a couple different people that I like. Oh, and then Ricky Gervais is not clean.
Hmm.
He's dark and not clean. But his insights and his cadence, I like them. So all those comics are kind of people who, if they drop a new special, I'll watch it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome, man. Well, dude, I'm excited to hear you. I'm planning on going out on the 23rd to the Ringgold show, and so hopefully tickets aren't sold out. I'm gonna check today, but
Yeah.
so we'll try to be out there. But man, and we appreciate you coming on.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. So if you have anything else, Austin.
No, just tell us where tell the people where they can find you, like your social media handle.
Yeah. So on social media, I'm Joel Beasley, JoelBeasley. And my website that has all my handles on it and dates and all of that good stuff is joelcomedy.com.
Awesome. Oh, I forgot to mention one thing. When you sent me your email, I've noticed a lot of brilliance out of you today. But when you sent me your email, you spelt your name wrong.
Did I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, man, this guy's so smart, but he spelt his name wrong.
Yeah. A smart guy performs 10,000 actions a day. He's going to get, 500 wrong. So.
That was probably your only wrong one today, man.
Dude, I don't care. I'm a silly monkey. I'm just walking through life doing the best I could possibly do. And sometimes things go wrong. I'm very comfortable when things go wrong, actually. Right. Oh, yeah. Things explode all the time. And I'm like, that wasn't an explosion. That was a rapid disassembly, unscheduled.
Dude, I think that's great, though. I think that's how you have to live.
Yep.
I think if we can't laugh at those things, then, we're really missing out. But, man, we appreciate you. Rojo family, we love you guys.
Find us on Life with Rojo on all social media platforms, and we'll see you next week.